Hey guys, we're coming in today and we're going to be talking a little bit about abstract faces. So far you've made the color wheel and you've done symmetrical painting, and now we're going to do a little bit something more fun and a little bit more about color mixing because we can't get enough color mixing. And we're going to be doing a little bit of blending kind of. So what you're going to be doing with faces is all you want for your faces is to kind of have eyes, nose, and a mouth. So you can abstract it as much as you want, as long as you have kind of those central features. And you're gonna kind of make them look similar to faces, but they don't have to be perfect. Kind of like African masks, if you will. But don't forget about detail and paint colors. So you wanna think about mixing your own paint colors and making sure that you're adding detail. This one is great, but I would have done a second layer of all these because you can see how streaky this back layer is. So be thinking about that whenever you're working with your paint. So, the first thing you want to be able to do is you want to get a sketch paper. So I've got my project paper behind it. So I'm just going to have my sketch paper. And since we're working in a 12 by 12 square, you can kind of do a couple of thumbnails if you want to be able to kind of get your paper down. And then if you're not feeling very confident with just doing it right off the bat, you can kind of take a little bit of time, kind of map out. I like to do this first. I like to make these really weird shapes. Think about like eyes that you can do and how you want to make your nose. Just kind of do lines and don't worry too much about like making everything perfect. Kind of make it abstract. Like I said, African masks have been doing this for a long time, so it's something like that you guys have probably seen or done before. So there's my one face. If I wanted to add another face over here, how would a face look? I want to add a hat, that would be nice. And then different eyes, maybe something like that. Maybe have some more hair in the bottom. Like, think about those things like that. And oh, hair would be nice up here. I've had people add like accessories to things. Like, you can kind of add and subtract the way you want to. So I kind of have a good idea. So I'm going to go on to my paper. And I'm going to start a similar way that I did for my sketches. So I'm going to do a big line down the piece. You're going to take the whole paper. Don't forget about like focusing on the whole paper. Maybe even not do the other side of the person at the same time. Like, there's an eye. Maybe I want the other side of the eye. Like, I don't like this line, so I'm going to erase it. Or maybe I could have incorporated it in, and maybe that was her hair. Don't be afraid to think largely too, and over-exaggerating things. That'll work out okay with you this assignment too. So I like that nose in those two triangle formations. That'd be nice. And then I'm just kind of going with the flow here. Making stuff up as I go along. Okay, I think I know where my next one is going to be. I take up this space, and this gives me some room for her hair. So take your time with this and figure out what kind of faces you want to make. Like I said, think about detail as well. Like, I still want that guy with the hat. I kind of like that. And I gave him more room for me to be able to make his face over here. So kind of like this. So I'm just brainstorming as I go along too, if that helps you and you don't want to do too many sketches for this one. You don't have to if you feel pretty confident in being able to make a really interesting face. Kind of like that. So there's my two faces. What you want to think about with faces is also you either need to do one really nice detailed face like you can see here. They start out with a really basic premise and then they kind of added detail over it. Or you can kind of add your detail right away by doing multiple faces. Like, this is my final one over here. And I thought about where I wanted each one to go. I had a little bit of extra space down here, so I made like a little baby. So you can kind of play around with the space too. I want you guys to be thinking about that as well. And then whenever you start using paint, I want you to mix paint. So I've got the basic primary colors here and a purple. I didn't add green or orange because I didn't want to overflow my palette right away. You can always add those later. Don't forget that with like purple, you can see here, as soon as I pick it up, it's very translucent. So you're gonna have to add something to purple. Purple is going to be very translucent unless you add something to it. So I'm kind of gonna add a white. And don't forget about making your own colors too, okay? So I kind of want a reddish violet, so I'm gonna add a little bit of red. Don't mix like big splotches of color. I've seen that a lot too. You wanna kind of use small spaces to mix. Don't use the whole palette to mix. You just want small spaces to mix. So I kind of want her eyelid to be that color. And what I'm gonna do is just do her eyelid in one coat. I can keep that purple there, and I can go on to her skin color, or I can do like her eye color, and then I can come back in with this purple and do it again, okay? That's another way that you don't have to mix like an extreme amount of purple. You can just kind of mix a little bit of purple, do one layer, and then let it dry while you do another section, and then come back and do a second coat. That way you don't have to have the purple in multiple spaces. So I want to make a light blue for her eye color. I just rinsed my paintbrush out, get some blue, get a little bit of white. I want it to be lighter than that, so I'm gonna grab some more white. Just using the tip of my brush. You don't have to mash down hard. You don't have to like put your paintbrush directly into the white. You can just kind of scoop it from the outside. That way you don't ruin your white right away. So same thing. I'm gonna take my paint brush and I'm just gonna go around. I wanna leave the inside of her eye white, which you can do, and some people don't. Some people use like make their eye colors, make their eyes different colors and add color to the whole thing, and some people do. That's up to you how you want to do that. But don't leave sections of white. What you want is you want to be able to have very colorful piece at the end. So there's my first two. And you can kind of play with the colors. Like if I want her whole thing to be pink and purple, I'll just make different shades of pink and purple, okay? So it's not a hard assignment. Once you get done with your colors, adding them down, you can kind of add some detail if you want to. Make sure that you're thinking about blending too. This is a really interesting technique where someone had an orange layer down and then they added white on top of it. That's a really good way to deal with things. Having dots, thinking about lines, those kind of things are really helpful with this particular project. Also having nice bold sections of color, like they had in light orange down here and they had such a big space of orange, they kind of made a different color right there. You can be thinking about that as well. That's actually a really good hint. So after you get your color down, you can go back in and go over it with other colors, like this one. Went over it in like purple and like greens and things like that. And then some people go over it in black in some areas. You can outline with black, but make sure you're thinking about detail, making it abstract and making it really nice and colorful and detailed, okay? So good luck, guys.